Hi friends, join me today. I'm going to be making a dessert. Now, this video is going to air after, well, maybe during this weekend. If I can get it up and posted tomorrow, that would be great. But it's like the coldest weekend of the winter, and they're like saying it's going to be like a historic cold or storms. Oh, there I am pouring. I'm making a dessert today. Today we're making cake. Now this cake is going to warm you up. I'm going on like all these different directions. I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. Because this part, okay. So with box mix, I doctor them up a little bit. And you need about 1 cup of water. Now what I substitute some of the liquid with some yogurt. Sometimes I use yogurt or sour cream. This is actually a honey yogurt. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. So I need about 3/4 a cup of, and I'm using hot water because I want to bloom my, I'm going to add a little espresso powder. Let's see, there we go. And I want to get that started. So you just come by this. This is I don't know. Lanlo. I shouldn't try to pronounce that. I'm using a little espresso powder. I want to bloom that, and I'm going to use a whole tablespoon of. I'm using a little espresso powder. I want to bloom that, and I'm going to use a whole tablespoon of that. It's a really fine powder. I love adding that to a box chocolate cake because it just brings out nice chocolate flavor. It just makes it a little richer, a little something special. So anyways, like I said, I wanted to get that going because I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot of baking and cooking to do this weekend, so thought I'll take you for the ride. But like I said, it's like the coldest, and it's not that bad. I live in the Pacific Northwest. We're really, I know people are like, let me call the ambulance, because we're only having it in the 20s at night and in the mid to high 40s in the day. So I know that's like a heat wave for some of you in the country, and I feel so bad for you. I know we lived in upstate New York for many, many years, and I know about those cold winters. I know about lots of snow, and a lot of you are getting bombarded with snow and ice. I'm so sorry to hear that. But this cake, well, let me tell you what I'm doing. Just taking a box cake. I want to make a marble cake. And you know, I went into a couple stores. I don't know if they don't sell marble cakes anymore, or just not in my grocery store. Let me know if you've got it in your area. And if you know what I'm talking about, what's a marble cake? Well, it's a mixture of like a yellow cake and a chocolate cake. It has like swirls of chocolate in it. So let's get this started. I'm going to use 3 room temperature eggs. I add a little bit, so what I add extra to it is the yogurt, like I said, yogurt or sour cream. I'm going to put a little butter extract and a little bit of vanilla extract just to give it something. And then for my oils, I either use coconut oil or butter, but today I'm going to just use coconut oil. And this needs about 1/2 cup. Now I've already melted some of this, and let's go ahead and put all our wet ingredients. So now we need about 1 cup of water in there, but I'm gonna just do the oil first because I've got 1/2 cup here. So, oh wait, I got new glasses, so I'm getting adjusted to them. Yeah, 1/2 cup of oil. Like if you want this nice and rich, you can do butter. All right, and then we're gonna put some. We're gonna put our yogurt in there. Need a little spatula, and you want the yogurt or sour cream to be room temperature also. your eggs, your liquid, put that room temperature. We'll set that aside. Now this cake, you're like, okay, why are you showing me a box cake? Because we want something simple, but the topping, we will make a homemade vanilla pudding. Now, when we lived in upstate New York, my mother-in-law, this is a cake she always made for us when we go over for the weekend to visit. Let's see, I've already greased my pan. All right, so I need to put the rest of my liquid. Oh, I have that in that cup. Let's see. Let me put this other oil on here. All right, I need 3/4 a cup of water, or you could use milk. I'm going to use, even though this isn't room temperature, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup. Yeah, let's go with 1/2 cup. And then I'll do 1/4 cup of hot water. Kind of, I'm cheating a little. I'm breaking my own rules. But anyways, what I was saying is my mother-in-law used to make this when we all the kids and grandkids would be there for the weekend. I'm going to do with all my measuring cups. Here they are. And she would make cooked pudding on the stovetop. You know, remember the day? Who remembers the cooked pudding? I love that. That's much more tasty than the instant pudding, I think. Now, she didn't make it from scratch, so that's what makes this a little bit upgraded, but it still is good. And she would still cut the cake while it was still warm. Let's see, I'm running my mouth. Did I put that in there? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Here it is. I'm all over the place today. Sorry, folks. Anyway, she would serve that cake warm with the hot pudding on top. I'm like, that was so good. You know, we had long winters in New York, so we wanted to find ways to, and we're going to do 1 egg at a time. Where's my, I had another egg. I must have it on the table. I know oh, maybe I only took 5 out. So we're going to go 1. Give it a little stir. Don't over mix it. That helps you to have a nice tender cake. 2. And 3. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Did you ever have pudding on top of the cake? Just plain old pudding. Well, you could pick whatever flavor you want. You could have vanilla, you could have chocolate. I remember her specifically making the marble cake with the vanilla icing. That was my favorite. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to kind of give a little salute to my mother-in-law. She passed away this past summer. And so I want to try to remember some of the recipes and things she did. This makes you feel a little closer. You're like, okay. I remember all those good memories we had together. So now we're going to add some butter extract. Let's get a teaspoon. Well, there's a brand new pack, so let's open that up. That might help. I've been wanting to make this dessert for a while, and I thought, it is cold outside. This is a good time to make it. Now, I did, I'm going to put this to my, 1 teaspoon, my old-fashioned desserts. I have a playlist. We did a chocolate cake with a peanut butter icing. That was something my mother-in-law always made, and it was so super good. I got my KitchenAid, but I don't feel like going through that extra work of cleaning it. I think we got everything in here. Let's double check my box. Did I add everything? I added the oil, I added the eggs, I added the liquid, and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is, it's like about I think it's an 8 by 13 or maybe 8 by 11. But anyway, we're gonna pour, just make sure you get any kind of lumps with the cake in there, the cake powder. Pretty much a couple little lumps in there. I want to get those out. And just by adding those few little extra things, gonna make this cake yummy. And you can make it from scratch. You don't have to use a box cake, which I am getting more and more making things by scratch, but if I have a lot to do, then I'll revert to the box. And I'm going to be making some pulled pork for a football game. So we're watching, this weekend is the Seahawks and I think it's the Rams, right? So here in the Pacific Northwest, at least the town I live in, it's legal to do fireworks. So if the Seahawks, if I'm not watching the game and I want to know if the Seahawks are doing well, I listen for the fireworks. Because whenever they have a touchdown, people light some fireworks and you can hear it. And was it, what was that, 2 weeks ago they played? And Seahawks did great. And there was a lot of fireworks that night. And when they won, whoo! So just set that aside. Because now we're going to make the chocolate cake. I'll wash my hands. And we're not going to use the whole cake batter, I don't think, for doing our marbling. And I'll show you what I mean. But if you've never tried this, give this recipe a try because it's so yummy. And it really is so easy to make homemade pudding, which we're going to do. I'm going to use the same bowl. I'm not going to even clean it because we're just making cake. What kind did I use as far as chocolate? Oh, chocolate fudge. So it's nice and rich and chocolatey. Put that in here. All right. We're going to use our liquid. We need 1 cup of liquid. Remember, we're putting the yogurt in there. So we'll need 3/4 a cup of liquid, which we're going to use the coffee. And let's see, what next? Oh, the 3/4 a cup. So that's nice and bloomed, that coffee. And it's okay, but still, it's like warm. It's not hot right now. All right. All right. Then we're going to put our oil. Where did I set that cup? Oh, here it is. We need a 1/2 cup of oil. And we're going to use a tablespoon of vanilla to that, because that just helps it taste. I went a little bit over. No big deal. All right, so, and then we need 3 eggs, and I only had 2 at room temperature, so I put this one in a cup of very warm water for about 5 minutes. Maybe not even 5 minutes. So bring it up to room temperature. I'll whisk that in one at a time. Smells good. All right. 2. Now you need 2 or 3 egg yolks, depending on what's how much pudding you're going to make. I think I got to recheck my recipe that I have. Probably will do, I don't know, I might do 3. I haven't decided. Just getting those lumps out. All right, so let's take our cookie scooper and let's put some dollops in here. And any leftover batter, I already have another small pan. And this doesn't have to be perfect, folks. Because you're going to swirl this around anyway. And the rest of the cake I'm going to put in the other pan. So you're just going to take a spatula, you can take a knife, and you're just going to swirl it. Thus they call it marble cake. So don't overdo it. That's all it is. How simple is that? We'll put this in the oven. It's been preheated at 350, probably around 25 to 30 minutes. So let's set that timer. I'm gonna go ahead and put this leftover batter in a cake pan. You could even do cupcakes, but I'm just gonna put it in this smaller little cake pan. I'll probably bring this to church tomorrow. And I'll put that in the oven at the same time. Now, a lot of times when you have a marble cake box mix, it'll have one big bag of like a yellow cake mix, and then you'll have a little packet for the chocolate. You reserve some of the batter and you add the chocolate mixture to that. And we have less than 10 minutes for our cake to be done. And you're gonna love making homemade pudding after this, because it really is so simple. So let me get my bowl. There's different ways I've done this. Now I make an Italian cream similar to this, and I always started it out on the stove, but I see some people just start it out in a bowl, and I'm like, I feel like that's a better way, because you have to be really careful with Italian cream or pudding. that you keep whisking it because you don't want it to stick to the bottom and have like chunks or little balls. So we're going to take 2 egg yolks. I wasn't sure if I was going to do 2 or 3, but we're going to separate the whites. And I can save that for something else. Maybe tomorrow I'll make an omelet for the hubby for breakfast. We can throw those extra whites in there. I love this little device. I got this years ago at Tupperware. It's a little separator. Now you do want to get all the whites out of there. This one's a little stubborn because you don't want the whites. It'll beat up and give you not a great texture. So let me wash my hands with the touching the raw egg. Now people, you know, I hardly see the cooked pudding in the grocery stores. I mean, it's in there, but not every store. And then some stores, they don't have much of a selection because I guess people just don't make cooked pudding anymore. So give me a thumbs up or a wave if you still make cooked pudding. So we're going to take our 2 egg yolks. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of organic granulated sugar, and we're going to let's start to whisk that. And we probably need like a 1/4 cup of milk. You know what? I might take my little, is that a 1/3? Yeah, I don't want that. Let's get my little, and find my 1/4 of a cup, 1/4 cup. There's one. Let's add about a 1/4 cup of milk in there. And it's going to take a while. You got to really beat it till it's smooth. Now you can do this in the food processor too, or you can just do it on the stove top. But I'm going to try this. Of course, here I am trying it in the bowl for the first time. Let's put like a good pinch of salt. You want about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour. I'm using organic. Let's see, what brand am I using? I think it's called Montana Sky. I like that brand. You can put up to, I think if I did 3 egg yolks, I would do 3 tablespoons, but so I'm just letting this mix and mix to get my sugar dissolved. Let's get the pan at least. And we're not going to put our vanilla flavoring in until the end, and we're going to put a little bit of butter at the end, unsalted butter. Of course, I've got that pan in there. I want you to first, I feel like once we put it in here, also the pan, that it's gonna thin out or dissolve the sugar. Now, like I said, I make this delicious Italian cream, which I've been making like for 40-something years. That's a little thicker, use a little bit more flour and a lot more egg yolks. I think that one uses about 5 egg yolks. Yep, 5. gonna leave about a quarter of a cup, maybe half a cup, quarter. All right, let's put this in here. And we're gonna keep stirring. I've got this on medium. You don't wanna go any higher. Oh, there's my cake. Let's take a look. I can smell it. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Take this off the heat because we have to keep stirring that. I don't want to flub up on the camera. So let's check our. The smaller one. I think this needs like 3 more minutes, maybe 2. All right, let's get this back on here. Timer. Let's do 2. When you press down on the cake, it should bounce right back up. Or you can put a toothpick in there. It should come out clean. So we're going to keep stirring this. Let's get that bowl out of the way. And this probably, I won't stay on the camera the whole time, but this is going to take us several minutes. So this has been cooking for about 4.5 minutes. On my stovetop, I have it on 5. And you don't want to turn it up higher because you don't want to scald or burn this. And it's slightly thickening, but it still has a little bit to go. I have about almost 1 3/4 cup of whole milk. I recommend whole milk because it's going to give you full flavor. I mean, we're eating dessert here, so. And it's getting there. So 10 minutes, probably a little less than 10 minutes maybe. We've got pudding. Hello. This is going to be a great dessert for a cold winter's night. Like I said, you can serve it with the cake out of the oven. Make your pudding while your cake is. Just need this to thicken up a little. Serve your cake while it's still warm and hot. You put the hot pudding on there. Or you can let it cool down a little bit to room temperature. Now, we're going to wait till this thickens up. We'll add the vanilla and our little bit of butter. But you'll want to, once it cools, you'll let it cool down a little bit. Maybe 15, 20 minutes. Then you're going to put some plastic wrap on it. We're going to put it in a bowl. I have a bowl over there. I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because you don't want a skin to form on your pudding. Because that will be, yeah, yucky. It's thickening up again. It's getting there. It's almost to where I want it. You can kind of get a feel of it. And it will thicken a little bit once it starts to cool also. You don't really have to stir it like you know, a harsh whipping. But just a nice gentle stir. And you can use whatever, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. Chocolate cake, vanilla pudding, vanilla cake, chocolate pudding. So it's a little thin. That's what I'm talking about. It needs to be a little bit more. It already tastes good, and we didn't even add the vanilla to it. We're about 7 minutes in, and it is starting to thick up, but no, that's kind of close. I'm deciding if I want to add a little more milk. Because this should be able to take a whole 2 cups, 2 to a quarter cup, but a lot of people use cornstarch, but I like to use flour. A lot of people use flour too, and I always use, yeah, this is thickening up nice. So let's add the rest of that milk because I think we'll be good. It literally was less than a minute, and this is coming to a gentle boil. That's good. Let's get it off the heat. Ah, the holders, please. All right, let me get this off the heat and it's still in the shot. Move my camera. All right, I've got off the heat. I'm going to put a little bit of butter. Just really, you could take up to 3 tablespoons. I think I'm going to do 2. No, you can't see that pan. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. All right, you can get a good view of that. Let's do a couple pats of butter. That's 2 tablespoons, and we're going to do our vanilla. And I already forgot if I was putting 1 or 2 in there. 2 teaspoons. One, 2. Let's give that a little stir. It smells wonderful. You do want it to set at least, probably, I would say 15-20 minutes before you put it on your cake. It still will be pretty warm because you want the flavors to meld a little bit. But let's give it a little taste. Let's take a look. That's what we want. Give it a little taste. Yummo. That's good. Not too sweet. I could even use a little less sugar. Tiny bit, maybe 2 tablespoons less. Let that cool a little bit, and we'll assemble our cake. All right, let's put that pudding in a bowl. We'll get ourselves a little serving while it's still hot. I've had it in this pan for just under 10 minutes. You really don't want to leave because I can already start it with starting to get a little bit of a skin. And there's a little bit of that skin. Let's pull that out. See, it was a little lumpy there. Let's give it a try. Oh, that's so good. Just how I remembered. So we want to put our plastic wrap on there. I'm moving quick because I'm running out of space on my phone. But you're just going to go ahead and put this down flat on your pudding. So it doesn't develop a skin. And then I'm going to put another lid on there, but see how that looks? Just right on our